Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are having a good day. What's going on? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and Black Business School. I am glad to be here. I'm glad to see you. I hope that I can see you. I'm going to check my computer right now to make sure that I'm going through okay. Um, what's happening? Today is it's Saturday morning when I'm recording this, and I just finished running today. I've been trying to run a lot in order to gain and grow and try to lose weight. It's been a journey, boy. I tell you, I did 4 miles today, so I'm happy with that. But anyway, so I didn't have a lot of time today, but I wanted to kind of hop in and ask you guys a question. What's going on? Black Money Matters. What's happening, brother? Uh, Fly guy, I appreciate what you stand for, my brother. Well, thank you. I appreciate you also. Um, and you know what? I got a nice note from a sister named Donetta today, and she was telling me that she and her husband, that because they kind of watch the podcast, and you know me, I'm always about that money. I'm always about black people getting ahead, black people getting, the power we deserve, believing in ourselves, educating ourselves, educating our own children, controlling our own destiny. She said that because of that, she said, you lit a fire under my ass. This is literally what I read this morning. She said, me and my husband, we make a lot of money and we pay a lot of money in rent. And she said, we stopped doing that. We closed on our first house. We have started investing in stocks and bonds, and we're going to buy our first investment property. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me smile, because that's so transformative. That is so transformative. I mean, that's what you do when you want to change your life. That's when you get ahead. You guys might have seen my little smart aleck. I'm such a smart aleck. I'm a smart ass. I just get on people's nerves, and I know this, and I'm proud of this. But I decided I thought it would be fun to kind of write up these little letters from white supremacy. All the things that a racist motherfucker does not want black people to do. They don't want you reading. Anybody that's a white supremacist, they don't want you saving. They don't want you investing. They don't want you sticking together. They don't want you loving the black woman. If you're a black man, they don't want you as a black woman to believe in the black man. They don't want you creating your own businesses because they need employees. They're like, well, how the fuck are you gonna be a good slave for us if you out here trying to run your own shit? Like, really? They're like, we need employees. We need you. Like, we need our Negroes. That's why y'all confused. That's why y'all confused about how racism and white supremacy works. Because, white folks, I don't think most white people I know, I talked to several white people this morning in my little run club. There's a lot of white people in the club, because that's just, it is just the one I was invited to join. And I don't discriminate, and I talk to them, wonderful people. But so I don't think they get up every day thinking, like, how do we oppress a black person? But I do think that we get confused. Like, we're like, well, wait, how can somebody who hates us so much love us so much? How can they admire us so much? If they think that we're worthless, then why do they steal from us? If we have no money, then why do they put stores in our neighborhoods? If we have no value to society, then why are they always stealing our culture? You're confused by that because what you don't understand is the difference between being respected and valued versus being utilized and needed and exploited. There's a difference between sort of being a prize versus being a tool, right? There's a difference between being an asset, where there's sort of a mutually beneficial relationship versus simply being, a tool, weapon, or something on which someone else is able to lay their power, right, or build their power from that, right? So, for example, if you think about this, every relationship between a pimp and a hoe, it's always a partnership. The pimp needs the hoes. He's like, well, what you mean you're trying to be a pimp? We can't have two pimps in this relationship. It's working out good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What do you mean you're going to pimp school? You're trying to go to college and trying to become a doctor and trying to start a business or trying to run your own corners? Well, how am I going to win from that, right? So a lot of times, basically, white supremacy is predicated on this idea that whiteness allows certain specific privileges that whites get, that makes them sort of the primary benefactor in the relationship, or at least the one who holds and wields the most power. So for black people, the reason that they don't want you starting your own businesses is because you are wonderful employees. The reason they don't want you to own property is because you are great tenants. You know, I mean, how else is the landlord going to get the rent paid if he ain't getting your motherfucking money, right? You know, the reason they don't want you to stick together and to support Black businesses is because you are a great support system for white businesses, right? The reason they don't want you to get educated and to do well is because you're a great benefactor for the prison industrial complex. You are the fuel. You are the gasoline that makes the American engine run. So when you step out of place, when you step out of line, that's no different from the wide receiver on the football team saying, I want to be the quarterback, man. I want to throw some passes too. But the quarterback's like, well, I'm not going to be your receiver. I'm not going to go catch those balls. So if I ain't catching no balls and you ain't catching no balls, then we ain't got nobody to throw to. Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the wide receiver? I can't throw to anybody if you decide you want to be a quarterback too. So basically, you know, in my little letters from white supremacy, it made me really think about all the things, you know, if I'm a white supremacist and I need Black people to remember their place, there are specific things I do not want Black people to do. I don't want you getting a lot of education because there are not a lot of, like my boy Ken Williams said, there aren't a whole lot of PhDs in prison, right? So I don't really want you to get a lot of education. So I want you to continue to be ignorant and not pick up a book. I want you listening to retarded ass gangster rap. I want you listening to the most disrespectful, degrading, genocidal music that you can find that's going to make sure that by the time you're 18, you're hooked on drugs and alcohol and you never, ever become a competitor to me, right? If, you know, just like the pimp wants his hookers on drugs. He wants his hookers giggling. Like Iceberg Slim said in his book a long time ago, he said, I love it when I listen in the back and hear my girls are giggling. Because basically he said when they're giggling, that means I know that they're happy and they're not going to cause me no problems. You know, so basically when you giggling and you partying and you dancing and y'all learning how to, you know, shake and twerk and all that, but ain't nobody trying to read a book, ain't nobody trying to learn computer science, ain't nobody trying to learn advanced strategies on how to start businesses, nobody's trying to figure out how to amass millions in wealth so they can make major power moves within the economic system, then it's easy. White supremacy works quite well in that scenario. So there are specific blueprints that they would like for you to follow. And the blueprint is don't educate yourself, don't save your money, don't invest your money, don't buy Black, don't love each other, don't form strong families and continue to kill each other. If you keep doing that, then white supremacy is good. So anyway, that was my little note. That was my little side thought. Let me talk about what was on my mind today. I was thinking about this whole situation with Morgan Freeman, right? Now, y'all saw Morgan Freeman has been the latest target of the Me Too campaign. This conversation is done without regard for whether or not we think Morgan Freeman's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know Morgan Freeman. I know people who have issues with Morgan Freeman. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Morgan Freeman's a good guy. I sure as hell ain't going to say Bill Cosby's a good guy because I think Bill Cosby, you know, probably did some stuff he shouldn't have done. I do believe that. I just want to make that clear. I do believe OJ killed Nicole. I'm going to say that too. I think he did. I'm sorry. And y'all might not agree, but I believe OJ did it, right? Just because I stand up for the brother's rights to fairness doesn't mean I think he's innocent. I think Tiger Woods is, you know, he's a Caucasian prick. He's a guy that, you know, just kind of, you know, remember he said that I'm Caucasian, like he didn't really want to be Black. I don't understand Tiger, right? But here's the thing. I was looking at this, right? I was looking at this kind of like a box. And I had Morgan Freeman and Bill Cosby, Tiger Woods, and OJ. Let's see, oh, that's interesting. BMOT. That's our program. We have the program is called BMOT, Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. That's our kids program. So Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby. So BMOT, Bill Cosby, Morgan Freeman, OJ Simpson, Tiger Woods. All four of these guys. What's interesting to me is that if you look at kind of what's happened with those guys, what I see with those four is that these are four men who obviously they've been sort of dragged through the mud publicly, right? Right now, Morgan's going through it because there are women saying that he harassed them and things like that. Now, remember the Me Too campaign it was started by a Black woman to draw attention to the fact that other Black women were being assaulted and raped and molested. It didn't, white women are the ones who ran with the ball and turned it into this whole like, oh, a man whistled at me at work and that's as bad as being raped. Like, or he told me that I look good in my dress. And that was it. That was as bad as sexual assault. Like only white women can like literally take a football and run down the field and then run to outer space with it, like literally end up on Mars when all you said was we trying to end up in the end zone. That's kind of what white women do with Me Too. That's why I think a lot of black women are just kind of disgusted with it. A lot of people don't take it seriously anymore. They're like, yeah, well, me too. Well, me too. Me too. Well, shit, if you're talking about everybody's been fucking inconvenienced in the last 40 years, then me too, right? But anyway, Morgan Freeman's kind of been hit with the Me Too campaign. A lot of people are saying different things about what he might have said and did with women in terms of it doesn't sound like there's anything involving like rape or sexual assault, but it's more like, if you work with Morgan, he's gonna make comments on what you look like. He's gonna give you those what they call creepy hugs, things like that, which maybe he does. Maybe he's a creepy hugger. I have no idea. But anyway, Morgan's kind of the latest. Before we were talking about Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby's been on this trial where this she-man looking chick, this woman who looks like Colin Kaepernick, she's technically a woman, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's got a penis under all of that, because that woman, I ain't never seen a man with a bigger Adam's apple than she's got. So this she-man has taken him to court and is trying to get him sent to prison for allegedly grabbing her boobs, like drugging her and putting her to sleep so he could grab her boobs. And then before that, you had Tiger Woods, where Tiger, was apparently he's an idiot because he's going around sleeping with all these porn stars and with no condom, which is pretty much a death wish. My God, dude, you need a therapist. But Tiger was doing all that. His wife got mad at him. Next thing you know, Tiger's apologizing, even though he didn't break any law. He wasn't a criminal, and it should have been between him and his wife. But then there's OJ, right? Y'all remember the OJ case? OJ allegedly killed Nicole, and he should have been acquitted. He was acquitted, and he should have been allowed to live his life, but he wasn't, because they were like, we're going to get this nigga, even if he kills us, to do that. So let me talk about these 4 cases and kind of what box they fit in, and why all of these cases are kind of symptomatic of kind of the racial, of racism in America, white supremacy, but also just Negro stupidity, Negro coon stupidity. All 4 of these men are men that I can support to a point, but these are also men where you could have 20 years ago, if you looked at all of how they were all living, a lot of us didn't understand how they were living in the world, the universe they were in. And really, I can even throw in my friend, a person that I've worked with, because he's been very nice to me, Russell Simmons. I know Russell. Russell used to call me. His number's in my cell phone. Russell will call me like once a year and just talk for like 30 minutes straight and then stop talking and then say, all right, I'll see you later. It was very weird. I didn't understand it, but Russell will call me. And Russell is admired in entertainment. But here's the thing about these 5 guys. So now it's BMROT. I wonder if that's like an acronym. Somebody help me if it's like an acronym so I can remember all that. So we throw Russell in there too, because Russell got hit with the Me Too stuff, with these alleged sexual assaults that allegedly happened back in the day. Russell's interesting because Russell defended himself. Russell actually came back and created what he called the Not Me campaign, which I don't think it lasted very long. But basically, he was saying like, that you need evidence. If you're going to accuse me of something that happened in the 1990s, you need evidence, right? So even with Russell, again, even though I can say that the time I've interacted with Russell has never mistreated me or disrespected me. When Russell said he was going to do something, Russell always delivered. When Russell and I worked together on the mass incarceration campaign, he promised me he was going to get all his celebrity friends to sign this letter we wrote to President Obama to change the incarceration policies in America. And I'll be damned if Russell didn't deliver. I'm talking about, if you go and you look at that list of who signed that list, he went and he got Chris Rock, he got Will Smith, he got Jada, he got white people that I never talked to, like the Kardashians and Justin Bieber. He got, who else was on that list? Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Hudson. A lot of people, that signed it. Rick Ross, even Lil Wayne signed it. I don't even like Lil Wayne. But the thing was, he was able to bring all these people together for the incarceration issue. And I went and I got my little signatures, from Jesse and Al and people like that, people that I was associated with, and the scholars, to add legitimacy to it. And I wrote the letter. I wrote the letter to the president, and it got on the president's desk. It got to Obama. It got to Valerie Jarrett, and they were not happy. And this is what when I keep talking to y'all about the fact that y'all don't know everything about what was going on behind the scenes with that Obama presidency. You'd be amazed at how much they fought us when we simply asked them to, look at the incarceration policies. They did not want to hear shit from black people. They didn't want to hear nothing from black people. And Russell they stopped inviting him to White House parties after that. They were like, oh, well, you can't, the celebrities are coming to the White House, but you can't come anymore because you're raising a stink. And Russell's like, no, we just need to get our brothers and sisters out of prison. Mass incarceration is a problem. Police brutality is a problem. All this police beatings are a problem. The way we're being treated in this criminal justice system is a problem. And so when people ask me about Russell and about all these other allegations, my position had always been, well, I don't really know because I wasn't there. I don't party with Russell. I don't know what Russell's personal life is like. I said, but all I can say is that when I worked with him, he always was an upstanding person. When I would talk to other people about him, they always said good things about him. Now, but again, does that mean that there's not something else there? No, I can't take responsibility. I take responsibility for my shit. I can't take responsibility for everybody's shit, right? But I can say that, he's a good guy. But here's one thing that I didn't understand about Russell that he has in common with the other part of the B mind, Bill Cosby, Morgan Freeman, Tiger Woods, and O.J. Simpson. They hung around with a lot more white people than I felt comfortable hanging around. They worked with a lot of white people that made me nervous. It doesn't mean I don't like white people. That's not it. They don't make me nervous if I'm in a controlled environment where I'm running the show. Like if I'm running an event and a white guy comes in, then we got you surrounded. You ain't gonna come up in here with no white supremacy. You get your ass kicked. If I'm talking to you in a restaurant and you're taking my order and whatever, then I'm not. That doesn't bother me either. But when it comes to my career and my ability to get things done, whether it's a job or me trying to get an opportunity in business, I get a little concerned about going into the white man's territory, trying to figure out how to make certain things happen, because there's too many cultural bridges that I don't want to cross. There's too many situations where I'm like, that's some really weird, fucked up shit. Wait, do you think did he really grab that guy's ass? Like the gay mafia? I don't want to join the gay mafia just to do business with you, or no, we don't raise our kids. When I grew up, I used to be, I got ass whoopings from my parents and they didn't traumatize me. My parents are not bad people. So I don't understand why you let your son cuss you out, in the grocery store. And maybe if you knocked him upside his fucking head, he wouldn't be cussing you out like that. Like I didn't grow up in that tradition, right? So there would be too many things white people would do that would be weird to me. I just wouldn't understand it. It doesn't mean I dislike them. It's not a hatred thing. Some of y'all might be white watching thinking, oh, Boyce doesn't like white people. That's not true. I love everybody who loves me. Everybody who's nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you right back. But as a black person in America, you can't say every white person is kind to black people. And you can't say that they're as kind to us as we are to them, right? You can't. So when I look at the lives of Tiger and Russell and Morgan and Bill and OJ, I remember looking and saying, man, how do these guys do it? How do they do it? Barack Obama too, to a point. I can even throw Barack in there. Because make no mistake about it. I bet you if they wanted to take down Obama, I bet you they could. Let that dude get out of line. Let Obama get a little too black on him and watch the scandals just roll out. They're going to be making it rain. It's going to be raining Obama scandals. Like, watch, mark my words, record this moment. If Obama gets too black, his ass is done. They're going to get his ass. And I just say this because I'm in Chicago. I hear the stories, okay? So just know that some people are protected, and when they stop protecting you, that's when you get persecuted. Doesn't mean that you ain't got no shit. Doesn't mean that, that you didn't fuck up. But some people's fuck ups are highlighted more than other people's fuck ups. Some people's dirt gets a little more light on it than other people's dirt. All of y'all in here right now, I want you to take a moment, just meditate with me. I want you to be honest and open with yourself for a minute. Think about the shit that you have either done or that the shit about your past or about your life that if it was revealed to the public, it would be really embarrassing for you. Just think about it. Don't tell nobody what it is. You ain't got to process it too much, but you know what it is. There's something in your life, in your past, that has happened, or that you have done, or that you were a part of, or that you know, participated in. Something you did where you feel a little bit guilty about it. And if people were to blow that up and tell the whole world and put it on CNN, you would look like the biggest asshole on the world in the world. You would look like the worst person on earth. And some of you worse than others, but you know what I'm talking about. Nobody wants their life to be a complete open book, right? So when I look at all these celebrities and I see a black man like a Morgan Freeman or Bill Cosby getting dragged for something that they did that was evil, I see it a little differently, in the sense that it's not that I don't agree that what they did is evil. Like, I looked at Bill Cosby stuff, I was like, wow, if he was doing this stuff, this is pretty terrible. But I see it in context. I don't see it in a vacuum. I don't see it, and I also don't see him as any different from the other degenerates in Hollywood. I think about not just the Bill Clinton I'm looking at as this sort of, or Bill, I see, Freudian slip. You hear me? I said Bill Clinton. I meant to say Bill Cosby. See, but y'all know that's a Freudian slip, because I think about all the friends that Bill has had through the years, all the people who for decades took pride in telling their friends, oh, I can get Bill Cosby on the phone in a minute. I'm buddies with Bill. I went to the Playboy Mansion with Bill. I hung out with Bill, right? Well, what about those people? You really think all those people are clean too? No. If you took the worst, if they just Bill Clinton alone, if they did an expose and went into detail in all the allegations against Bill Clinton that have been made public, they could fry him. They could eat him up like, you know, they could chew him up like a piece of chicken. You know, but what happens is we tend to isolate people and we say, you're a bad person. You're different from every other human being on the planet. So we're going to somehow look at you with these holier than thou eyes, as if there aren't other people who are just like you. So when I look at Bill Cosby or whatever it is, or Morgan Freeman, I'm not saying that these people are innocent or good people. I'm just saying that there's a reason why you picked his shit to put on display, as opposed to putting the shit of all these other people on display. You know, so the thing with Bill Cosby and all these guys is that, you know, I remember just kind of each one of them, and when I thought about all of their lives, even before the scandals happened, I would be like, wow, how do you do that? Like, how, like being around all those white people makes me feel like a fish out of water. I'm like, how do you breathe around all these white people? They're judging you. They're looking at you funny. They're saying stuff that doesn't make any sense to you. You know, like, you can't do certain things around them. If they find out that you have a certain political opinion, they can take everything away from you. Like, how do you do that? And then also, it's just boring. Like, you know, honestly, I mean, just be honest, be real. Have you ever sat around and had a conversation with like a bunch of white people, and like literally you were ready to like kill yourself, or either go to sleep or die? Like, you're like, I don't even care which one. Like, death would be better than having to listen to this conversation. Like, when I was in at Syracuse University, they would invite me to these parties, and they would have like wine and cheese and tuna tartare, and then they'd be talking about the dumbest stuff. And I would just be sitting there eating this nasty ass cheese, and just like bored out of my mind. Like this food, the food sucks. The conversation sucks even more than the food. I don't want to be here. You know, but I don't think it makes people bad. I think it's like just a cultural difference, a cultural variation. Maybe if they were around us or ate our food, maybe they would think our food was nasty, right? I don't know, you know, but it's just like a culture thing, right? So anyway, with Morgan Freeman and Bill Cosby and all them, the other thing that I think is interesting about these guys is clearly, this is not debatable at this point, because it's clear based on the outcomes of their situations, their legacies have all pretty much been destroyed. Clearly, they also, by kind of being in this space, exposed themselves to a lot of risk when it came to how their past would be judged, how they'd be kind of looked at by society. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You live on the white man's nipple, you die on the white man's nipple. You know, you die choking on his penis. Like, I don't know, whatever, you know, you could be taken down by the very same thing that propped you up. That so-called alleged artificial power that you think you have because all these people loved you is the same power that crushes you when all those people hate you, right? So you look at O.J. Simpson, before O.J.'s trial, before he was accused of killing the white woman, O.J. was the family pet. OJ was the most beloved Negro in America. OJ was as comfortable with white people as white people are with white people. I didn't understand that. But when OJ got accused of harming this white woman, suddenly he became public enemy number one. You know, and again, I mean, if OJ is a killer, he's a killer, which means he's bad for any community. So some of these, some of these people that do these, may do terrible things. If they do terrible things to white people, then it's good that they're not in the black community, because then they'd be doing terrible things to black people. But still, with OJ, it's like that same adoration that they had for you before is the same energy that they have in their disdain for you, their ire for you. They hate you. They want to kill you. They want to see you dead. They want to see you get the death penalty. And they take everything away, everything that you built up that made you feel like you were better. Like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Like, when you were in that state of mind, all of that's taken away, and now you have nothing because you didn't. Because I'll tell you, like, there are things that might get you. Like, for example, if I was surrounded by white folks, if my power came from white people could destroy me very easily. They probably would, and they'd find a reason to. It's like when what was it? I know it. I'll give you a good example. One of my friends, Mark Lamai Hill, was he had a job with Fox News, and Mark is a very smart guy. We don't agree on a lot of stuff, but Mark is super sharp. His analysis was on point. He was doing a great job. He was making a lot of money. Well, one day, one of the white folks at Fox News found out that Mark has respect for Assata Shakur. Now, Assata Shakur has been on the run for decades for allegedly shooting a cop in New Jersey. Well, when they found that out, it became viral. He became the most hated black man in America for a minute. And Rupert Murdoch fired him at the board meeting, at the shareholders meeting, right? And so everything that he had, this money he had coming in from this job, was suddenly gone, because you were kind of living on a throne of lies. That's kind of how I would see it. And again, maybe I'm sure for him, he's fine. I'm sure he bounced back. He found some other things to do. But my point on that is to say that that was one of the reasons why I was always hesitant to take a position like that in the first place, because a lot of times they will prop you up just so they can blow you up. They will make you tall just so they can knock you down, right? They'll put you on top of the world, but then they're going to have you on the bottom of it when your ass get out of line. If you don't do things that are consistent with their values, or if they just decide that you are no longer the good Negro, you are now the bad Negro. So anyway, you go to Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, again, white people loved him to death. Those were his number one fans. He had, a fan base all around the world, all these white folks that just thought he was Jesus. And Tiger, doesn't want nothing to do with black women. He marries this white woman, the nanny. He marries the fucking nanny. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know how crazy that sounds. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's like some great nannies out here who are just really good people, but seriously, like, there's a risk. There's a risk. Same thing with the ladies. Like, if you have $100 million in the bank, ladies, you might want to, I don't want to say you don't want to do it. I will say, think twice before you marry a guy who is like the janitor at the local high school. Doesn't mean that he can't, be a good husband. Doesn't mean he might be throwing down in the bedroom. He might love you to the end of time. But remember that if that is the case, then you better make sure that love is strong. You better make sure that love is strong, because when that love goes wrong, you're going to be pissed, because he's going to walk away with 50 of that 100 million. And you're going to be like, God damn it, I just gave $50 million to the janitor. I was a come up for him. I gave him $50 million, and all he did was come in my house and eat up my food and live off of my life and all of my hard work, right? So Tiger Woods married the nanny, and this nanny, I'm sure her greatest skills were like babysitting children and dropping it like it's hot in the bedroom, like, and maybe she could cook a good meal, but she didn't have to. They had cooks and slaves and servants and stuff, right? Because they're rich like that, right? They had all these people slaving for them and doing whatever they want. So to me, he kind of got what he deserved, right? She walked away with $250 million. This lady walked away with $250 million, and they never had to learn how to swing a damn golf club. Ain't never picked up a golf club in her life, except for when she picked it up to try to murder him that night when she found out he was sleeping with all them porn stars. So again, the Tiger Woods case, she gets mad because of what you've been doing with other women. It's her right to be mad, but it's not her right to attack you physically. You can be mad in a relationship, but you have no right to put your hands on your partner. I could be mad at my woman all day because she done got busy with some other guy. But I have no right. If I told y'all, I said, yeah, well, you know, I found out that she was hoeing around with the neighbors. So I took this root beer can, I slammed it upside her head. What would y'all say to me? Would you say, oh my goodness, well, you're a victim of abuse. That's why you behave that way. That everything's justified because you were a victim of abuse. No, you would say you're an abuser, boys. You beat your girlfriend. You beat women, boys. You beat women. You can't beat women, right? So if that's what you would say to me, then why is it okay that when Tiger's wife was hurt, and because he was doing his thing or whatever, he was cheating, that it was okay for her to take that golf club and put it upside his head? I don't know if you've ever held a golf club, but a golf club to the head will fuck you up. It will kill you. It could kill you easily. So I was like, well, why isn't she going to prison for attempted murder? Well, the answer is easy, because she's white. She's a white woman. So everybody's got tears for a white woman. Everybody's got these extra tears. Everybody keeps extra tears in their back pocket for white women. Even black people got extra tears in their pocket because since slavery, you've been conditioned to know that it's not appropriate to hurt the feelings of Miss Sally. That carries over to this day. That's why you don't feel so bad when you hear about 14 black kids got killed, but if one white woman gets killed or it's on CNN all week and everybody's trying to solve the mystery, some of y'all Negroes get caught up in it, be eating the popcorn like, oh, we need to find out who killed Becky Sue. Oh, who killed Becky Sue? I think it was Todd, right? Like we really get caught up in that. You've seen it with the Nancy Grace mysteries where a white woman goes missing, everybody goes crazy, but black girls been missing in DC since Lord knows when. Ain't nobody done no exposés on none of that, right? So ultimately with Tiger Woods, again, another guy, he needed to get out, but he didn't get out. He doubled down on white supremacy in his white environment, and that's what came and bit him in the ass. Same thing. Go back to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, not only did this guy, first of all, Bill Cosby to me, he was like the black Seinfeld to me. Seinfeld was never funny at all, ever. I've watched Seinfeld. I heard how many people love it. They made when the show went off the air, it was like a national holiday. Everybody talked about it. And I was like, man, I gotta watch this show. Everybody loves this show. It's gotta be good if everybody loves it. That show was like eating this piece of lettuce with no dressing on it. Like, it was so stupid to me. And I'd be like, there's nothing funny. Like, what? That's not funny. Like, oh, the soup Nazi's hilarious. It's kind of funny, but it ain't that. Def Comedy Jam, now that's funny. That's funny. That's when you about to have a convulsion, about to throw up your lunch and about to fall over and pass out because you can't stop laughing funny. Like, that's funny to me. Seinfeld was not funny. Bill Cosby was a black Seinfeld to me. I would watch his routine. I'd be like, okay, say something funny. And I wouldn't laugh. It would be the dumbest, driest shit I've ever seen. Now, the Cosby Show, now give him credit now. Let's talk about, give credit where it's due. Cosby Show, brilliant. Mwah. I mean, we're so stupid. 30 years later, we still can't make a show that good. That's how society has gone backward. Like, you would think that we'd have something better by now. No, we don't even have anything that's as good. It's like how they went to the moon in 1968, but can't go to the moon in 2018. That doesn't make any sense. That literally is direct evidence that the world is getting retardeder and retardeder every day. Right? We're getting retardeder. We're not even getting more retarded. We're getting retardeder. So anyway, but Cosby Show, brilliant. Different World, brilliant. Fat Albert, brilliant. That's where I draw him. That's it. I'm done. I mean, he had a show. He had that movie with Sidney Poitier. It's pretty good. It's all right. Let's Do It Again. Somebody. Stand-up comedy, dry as fuck, not funny at all. I remember I enjoyed Richard Pryor. I enjoyed Eddie Murphy. I enjoyed watching Eddie Murphy make fun of Bill Cosby. Remember that when Eddie Murphy was talking about how Bill Cosby called him up and said, you shouldn't be cussing. He's like, yeah, my son went to the show and he came back and said blah 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 blah. Right? And Richard was like, tell Bill I said get a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. And I thought that was funny because it was true. And Bill Cosby's always, not only has Bill always been just surrounded by white people, he's lived on the throne of whiteness his whole life. you know, white folks for whatever reason embraced him because he had that dry ass Seinfeld humor, you know, like which like eating lettuce and tuna tartare and wine and cheese and dumb shit, right? Like it was like perfectly made for white folks, right? So God bless him for that. He made money off of that. He did not entirely forget the black community. This man deserves credit forever for the fact that he gave more money to HBCUs than any of these bullshit celebrities do today. These celebrities out here, they give a little, they get, Beyonce gave $400,000 to HBCU. That's great. That's her money. I'm happy she did more than most, but that really should be embarrassing to us as a community that's like the gold standard now. Bill Cosby gave $20 million to Spelman alone in 1988. $20 million in 1988 is $40 million today. Ain't no celebrities out here even giving 1/10 of that to HBCUs. That's how, again, we've gotten retardeter and retardeter. We've gone backwards. We not more retarded. We've gotten retardeter because we're that damn stupid. We can't even say it right. So Cosby deserves credit for that. But, you know, Cosby also lived on the throne of whiteness. And when white people love you, it's a drug. It is a fucking drug. When white supremacy embraces you and loves you, you know, it's like getting like a dozen roses in the mail from a rapist. You know, like the most charming rapist in the world who's like, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're extraordinary, I want to marry you. But he's a rapist. So the minute that you cross him, he's going to fuck you up. He's going to ruin and destroy you. So Bill Cosby got in bed, you know, he got on his throne of whiteness. It was a big throne. The man was making more money than any entertainer. Like, there's not many entertainers that have ever made more money than Bill Cosby made in the 1980s. I think he made $100 million a year in the 80s, right? Entertainers today can't make $100 million a year. Most of them can't. Cardi B ain't gonna make no $100 million this year. She's the biggest rapper in the world, right? So this man was making a lot of money. And I think that what happens is that it makes you a little bit crazy. I think Bill Cosby kind of got, you know, definitely felt himself. I mean, my God, how many of y'all wouldn't be feeling yourself a little bit if you got that much? If you're literally making like, you know, $500,000 a day, like, I mean, why wouldn't you feel yourself a little bit, right? But what that did was it also translated into this weird self-righteousness where he kind of started saying things that showed that he wasn't connected anymore. He started saying things that were dismissive of a lot of the black community. Now, I think that some of this, though, may have come from the fact that, again, like a Michael Jordan, right? He and Michael Jordan, one thing they have in common is they both went through these horrible tragedies, you know, at the peak of their careers. Michael Jordan had his father murdered. I think it could have been connected to the gambling or something. I don't know. It was a sad situation. And then Cosby, remember they followed his son and murdered his son back in the day. And I would be willing to bet you that seeing his son murdered made him lose patience with those who overlook the dysfunction in the black community. I think Cosby was like, this is bullshit. This is, you know, like, why are we acting like this as a people? I can identify with that because I don't have patience for that either. I don't like that. I don't like it when we act like you had no choice but to go kill somebody and go to prison. No, you always had a choice. Stop acting like you ain't got a choice. Or he had no choice but to go steal something from the store. No, sometimes the kids get caught stealing red bottom shoes or something. Like, you ain't have to go steal no red bottom shoes or a Gucci belt. Like, you didn't have to do that. You chose to do that, right? We don't have to allow rappers to make music that's genocidal, disrespectful to women, that tells black people to be broke and ignorant for the rest of their lives. Like, we don't have to support that. We just do that because that's our habit. We don't have to go out and give money away to white businesses when we can be so supporting black businesses. We choose to do that, right? So I can identify with that, but I think what happened with Cosby is he got really self-righteous. He became kind of a prick. He disrespectful to a lot of black folks. And I think also he got real comfortable around those white women. And I'm going to tell you, that's another thing. Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby, even Russell, Tiger Woods, O.J. Simpson. For those guys, the white women were everywhere. I mean, just, you know, they have barbecue Becky's all over the place. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just say this right now. I don't think the world is safe for black men who are constantly messing with these white women. It doesn't mean that the white women are bad. It doesn't mean that they don't need love too. I'm sure they do. But It's not safe for you in this world that you live in. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for you, not because you know that Becky is going to come and try to hurt you. It's that if Becky does do something where she wants to decide to hurt you, she can hurt you very badly, very easily. That football player, the athletes get in trouble for this a lot because they start serving the white women to them on a platter when they get to college. And these white girls, I don't know what magic, what white girl magic they got in the bedroom, but whatever it is, some of these guys just get hooked. And I think it's maybe it has something to do with just a looseness sexually. Like with Nate Parker, when they were trying to take down Nate Parker for his white girls, you know, and this man apparently he didn't learn a lesson because he married to a white woman, right? But Nate Parker, you know, was talking about this girl that, you know, remember they were trying to blame him for the fact that she killed herself years later and saying that that's why we know that he raped her, even though there's no evidence, and he denied it. And there's video of her. I think there was video. Did they videotape it? I can't remember. But basically there were witnesses saying that she was participating, that she was happy to be having sex with 2 or 3 people or whatever it was, right? And, you know, but with that, you know, I think that situation, you know, it's sort of like these guys don't get it. You know, I think, oh, I know what it was. So I was going to talk about the white girl magic. Well, you know, I think that there was a story where he said that the girl met him and helped him move in his dorm and then gave him oral sex that day. And I was like, where do these women live at? What country did they come from? Because I didn't know that people even get this type of stuff. Like that just seems kind of the same day. Damn, wow. You don't even know his last name. Like you don't even know what grade he's in. Like you don't know nothing about this dude. Like you just met him. He can have like some sort of like freaking outer space bacteria on his penis, and you're putting that in your mouth, and you just met him an hour ago. Like that's crazy to me. I don't understand that. So again, that's not the culture I grew up in. I didn't know that. I mean, I'm an adult, so I know things, right? But still, like a lot of people don't do that, right? So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's the white girl magic that's sexual that makes these guys, you know, get hooked. But I think that these guys got to understand that you are playing with fire. You know, when you're laying down with Becky, you are playing with fire. Because if Becky decides that she wants to accuse you of rape or battery, or even sexual misconduct of any form, she can ruin your career and get you sent to jail. What's that football player at Ohio State? I forget. He plays for the Cowboys now. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But anyway, like that brother, you know, he had the white girlfriend, and she pretty much said to him, she said, because he had tried to get rid of her, and he was like, "Don't come in. I don't want you coming in my apartment." And she said, "I'll ruin your black ass, and you know, and I'm gonna go tell the police that you beat me, and that'll ruin your career." Like she said that type of stuff because she knows that she had that power, right? And fortunately, there were people who overheard all of this. But even then, he was still suspended. Like the NFL, as racist as they are, which you know, because we know the NFL is racist. I don't even know why y'all watch that shit. I'm not watching the NFL at all, by the way. Fuck the NFL. You know, this whole policy on like finding the players because they want to kneel, they're gonna lose. Mark my word on this too. The NFL will lose from that policy. The NFL will not win. These brothers are ripe and ready. They're not gonna sit down anymore. They're not going to give up anymore. They're not gonna just let you bully them anymore. I believe that the NFL is going to lose big time because they're ruining their brand even more. They're really making themselves look like a freaking NASCAR now with this bigotry. And I think a lot of these brothers is going to come to a head. It's going to get to a point where somebody's going to have to stand down. I think a lot of the people who thought about boycotting the NFL last year are going to actually follow through with it. I know some of y'all started the season saying, I ain't supporting the NFL. The next thing you know, by week 3, you lost your discipline. But I personally think that people are going to hold out longer. I think this time around, a lot of those people are going to say, you know what, I'm done with the NFL. I'm going to find something else to do with my time. Because there's a lot of things you could be doing with your time, with your entertainment dollars, outside of giving it to the NFL or giving your eyeballs to the NFL. So I would encourage you, if you really want to stand for this and fight for that cause, then go and just find something else to do. Like just pick something you want to do in the fall other than watch football on Sundays. You know, because I mean, this is a moment of truth. They pretty much have wrote the line in the sand, or they drew the line in the sand and said, you know, no niggas, we're not gonna bend on any of this. We don't want to hear your point of view. We don't give a shit what you think. So the question is, do you have self-respect, or are you going to just bend over like a little bitch and let them fuck you in the ass? Because that's pretty much what you're doing. If you continue to support this league, or you continue to let them bully you like this, you pretty much are admitting that you are submitting to their authority. You're submitting to their bigotry. You are telling them, you are saying that it's okay. It's perfectly okay for you to put NFL profitability over the lives of other black people. You are clearly stating that black life does not mean very much to you, that it means less than a football game. So I personally think that the real men are going to say, no, you're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to take my career. You're going to have to put me off this field. I'm going to come out of the locker room and I'm going to still kneel. I'm going to still put it in your face. That's what's going to happen. And that's why the NFL is going to lose, because I think that they're underestimating the resilience of these young men. I think that they don't understand how serious this is now. This is a thing where you go out there as an NFL player and you start bowing and folding all this bullshit that they're trying to put on you. You're going to go back to your hood and people are going to look at you like you're a pussy. They're going to look at you like you're not connected to the community, like you're not down for the cause. So I personally think that players are going to stand up, and I'm very proud of them for this, and I encourage them. I want to encourage anybody who's watching right now who's a part of the NFL, who's playing in the NFL. Maybe you got a brother or sister, well, you ain't got no sisters playing in the NFL, but you know what I mean. You got relatives that are part of the league. Like, encourage them. Like, stand strong. There's some things more important than just getting on a damn football field and getting some more brain damage and a couple of paychecks. Doing this really cements your space in Black history. So anyway, let me go back, and first of all, let me say this too. Don't forget, if you want to sign up for our social media platform, we have a social media platform we put together for people that are tired of being put in Facebook jail, that want to have open conversations. I don't know how long it's going to be before Facebook finds out about what I'm saying on my podcast, and they start banning me for life. So I went ahead and set up blaggenuff.com, BLAGGENUF. That's BLAGGENUF. We have thousands of members, so go to BLAGGENUF, blaggenuff.com, and you can come and check out the conversations there. They're very Black, very real. There's no censorship. It's wonderful. You're gonna love it. The other thing, so we were talking about the commonalities between O.J. Simpson, Tiger Woods, Bill Cosby, and Morgan Freeman. So basically, with all these guys, you didn't see nothing but white women. And this does not mean that every person in an interracial relationship is automatically a sellout. I'm not a person who believes that. Some of y'all in here got interracial relationships. So I'm not saying interracial relationships are a bad thing. What I think is a problem is when you see a person that has consistent interracial relationships. Like, they're consistently choosing the white boy over the black man. They're consistently choosing the white woman over the black woman. Like, consistently, these guys all had a track record. They had consistency, Morgan Freeman, I mean, other than his step-granddaughter, which was creepy as hell, most of women, I mean, I've seen him around white folks a lot. I've seen him with white women and all that. Bill Cosby loved the white women. I mean, half of those women that showed up talking about Bill drugged me 50 years ago, who many of them were drug addicts. Like, it's because I'm not going to say that you can't drug a drug addict and that it's right, that it's okay to drug a drug addict. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if you're a drug addict and you're using drugs every day already, and then you say, well, no, someone drugged me, that's a little bit blurry. And you say, well, there's no proof, no evidence, no nothing. That's a blurry, that doesn't mean you're not telling the truth. It's just a little blurry. It's a little confusing, right? Like, somebody's 400 pounds and they say, well, I normally eat 4 times a day every day, but that one time somebody made me eat and I didn't want to eat. Like, so you would probably be like, well, can you show us evidence that this actually happened? Because you're fat as fuck. So that pretty much says that you like to eat a lot. So we don't really know, how to discern fact from fiction, especially when there's money on the line. You see, a lot of the women that came after Bill Cosby, a lot of these old, these women, I'm talking about women they was dragging out from under rocks in the middle of the desert. They were some raggedy women who have been, who have been living that life. 60s and 70s was their heyday. They were getting high every week, sleeping with everybody. And so when somebody like that comes back 40 years later and says, oh, well, I got raped this one time, then you're not going to dismiss it, because that would be wrong, right? That's slut shaming, right? You shouldn't be like, well, nah, you was a hoe. Hoes can't get raped. That's not true. Hoes can get raped. Just because she's a hoe, fellas, don't mean that she want to have sex with you. Just because she have sex with everybody don't mean that you're included on that list of everybody, right? So understand, hoes can get raped, hookers can get raped. Just because she takes money for sex doesn't mean she wants your money, right? Or maybe you didn't pay the bill, which would technically make it rape because she didn't consent, right? Whatever, right? Okay, we know this. But when you are in that category, these dusty, raggedy, drug addicted white women from the 60s and 70s, and you're saying, Bill Cosby did this to me in 1975, why wouldn't a logical person say, well, okay, well, that's a very serious allegation with very serious consequences, so we're going to need some very serious evidence. They didn't do that. And they didn't do that because they were white women. Because again, if this were not a racial issue, then R. Kelly would be up under the jail. Because I do believe there's a lot of evidence. I mean, for R. Kelly, there's a freaking videotape of this dude peeing on a little girl. Like, if that's not evidence, I don't know what is. So I'm sitting there thinking, if these were white women, he'd be in prison right now. R. Kelly would not be free. He would not be walking the streets if his victims had been white women. In fact, the feminists, it's just strange. Like, it's very strange that like the Me Too movement hasn't really just sort of drilled in. They've done a little bit, they've tried a little bit, but I really kind of think that they haven't tried as much as they would if they were white women, right? But anyway, we don't want to talk about R. Kelly, like, because I don't even like that discussion about that guy. I had an issue ever since that videotape came out, with that little girl and all of that. I was like, man, you can't do that. Like, that ain't right. Like, why would, and y'all who watched it, anybody who watched it, y'all ain't right for watching it. What's there to watch? Were you watching it for entertainment? Were you watching it so you could be disgusted? Were you watching it because it was an interesting spectacle? Like, what were you watching? Well, you were in possession of child pornography, man. I mean, seriously, like, why would you do that? You're not supposed to be watching that type of stuff. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but just process that. That is possession of child pornography. That was a little child. That was a little girl. And the thing about it is that she ain't the only little girl that he peed on. And here's the thing. Here's the reality. There's a lot of little girls who are like, shoot, I'd sleep with R. Kelly. I know a teacher in Chicago, when all that happened, she said the little girls in her class were like, shoot, I'd fuck R. Kelly in a minute, right? Like, these were like 15-year-old girls saying this, right? So it ain't like there's not little girls who would sleep with these older guys, but it's up to the older men to be the ones who are mature enough to say, you know what, you too young. I know you hot. I know you don't got your menstrual cycle and your pheromones are high and and you're attracted to men, but I'm too old for you. You're not supposed to be with me. I'm gonna go, or if you like young women, then okay, go R. Kelly, go get you an 18-year-old. 18-year-olds are still pretty young and nobody can get you for that. But when you talk about 15, 14 and all that, that doesn't add up. Now, on the flip side with the R. Kelly thing, this whole thing about him manipulating the minds of women and making them into his slaves, but they don't know that they're really his slaves and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know what you say about that. If the women that are there are of age and they're choosing to be there, then that's all that I would need to know at that point. I mean, if somebody doesn't want help, if somebody does not want your wisdom and your guidance in terms of who they should be having sex with, then I don't really know if it's our place to give it to them. I just don't. I mean, yeah, so you might have, let's say you got a 24-year-old girl who's living in R. Kelly's house, and she's agreed to get on her 4 knees and bark like a dog because that's what he likes when he's having sex. And her family's like, oh, this is so terrible. She's been manipulated. He's made her a slave. She's grown. Like, she's chosen to be in that situation, in that life. She's fallen in love with the wrong man. Happens every day. She just picked a really, really wrong man, but it happens all the time. And we live in a world where we're told that women have the freedom to choose. What is everything about? When you talk about abortion, my right to choose, my right to choose. Women are empowered. Women can do whatever men do. Women have the ability to lead. So if I walk in and say, well, no, women don't have the ability to lead. Women can't choose for themselves. There are people, little minds are too vulnerable to manipulation. So we need to make decisions for them. I mean, that's what they used to think. That's what people used to do. That's why, fathers would be like, no, I'm not, my daughter may want to do this, but she's not going to do this because I'm her father and I know best, right? Father knows best. That was the world you used to live in. We rejected that world and went into a world where women know best for themselves. We've accepted that world. So if you accept that world, then you must also accept the consequences that come with that world. You must also accept this idea that these women know what's best for themselves, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're going to learn. Maybe they're going to learn a hard lesson. The lesson might come with, unwanted pregnancy or some weird disease, but they're going to learn, from their choices that they are making for themselves. So I would say that overall, with the R. Kelly thing, if you want to know kind of what my thoughts are, people have asked me about it. I don't think R. Kelly's a great guy. I don't like him, and I think honestly, again, if these were white women, I think he'd be in jail. I think that people didn't do due diligence when the things were coming out with the little kids. I think if they had done that, I think he would have paid a price for what he did. I think black people who just support him blanketly, no matter what, I think you're wrong. And just like with Bill Cosby, I think anybody who just believes Bill Cosby never did anything wrong, I don't agree with you. I can't go with you in that conversation, but I can go with you when you say that Bill Cosby was not given justice. Because in the court of law, you're innocent till proven guilty, and there's supposed to be evidence. Also, when he paid that woman, that she-man, that Andrea Constand, that said that he, drugged her and touched her titties, he paid her $3.8 million. And when you paid that money, so yeah, $3.8 million, maybe that's not the price of touching a titty. Maybe it should have been $4.8 million, but whatever it is, you signed that contract and you agree to take that money, then you've agreed that, okay, you know what? He touched my boobs. I didn't want him to do it, but I got $3.8 million for the trouble. We're going to move on with our lives. You can't do double jeopardy. You can't come back and say, yeah, he paid me, but he needs to pay even more. Or we made this agreement, but the agreement isn't valid because I'm still mad because I'm a white woman. That's not right. That doesn't make any sense. That's not fair. Also, the statute of limitations. You mentioned only butter. I see you right there. You're right. Statute of limitations. At what point, does that matter? Well, what happens is in the justice system, when white people want to bend the rules, they kind of just do that. That's what you're seeing. What you're seeing is that everything that you think is a hard and fast rule is not really a hard and fast rule. Everything you think that is a standard, it's only a standard when it's convenient for those who create the standards, right? When it's not convenient anymore, they change the standards. It's like when I was little in my house and my mama would say something and I would be like, well, mama, the rule is that we can't do blah, 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 blah. So how can you do da, da, da? You're not allowed to do that. And she would say, well, we're going to do it this way because I said so. Right. So because she's the parent, she controls the house. And, she might pretend like it's a democracy, but really it was a dictatorship. So for white people, that's what they're saying to you. When you say, wait, but according to the rule, according to justice, according to the law that was signed after Dr. King's march, it's not supposed to be that. And white people just kind of look at you like your parents and they're like, because we said so. We said so. What you going to do about it? What you going to do? You ain't got no power. You ain't got no real power in America. Y'all just niggas. Y'all don't even know how to stick together. Y'all ain't got no damn money because you ain't got enough discipline to save the little money you got. You spend more money on fast food than you spend on your own investing in your own future. You don't want to educate your kids. You don't want to accomplish anything at a high level as a community. So you have no power. So what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? The Jews got power. The Jews got wealth. The Jews build infrastructure. That's why they're able to get away with so much stuff, even though they're only 2 or 3% of the population. They make a plan for economic fortification and security so that they can come in and dictate policy. They get to come in and change laws and change rules and tell people what to do and get judgeships and control businesses and banks and all of that. Black folks, we got a ways to go. Y'all got about another 100 years before y'all get it together. Somebody after me, after you and I are dead, some kid who isn't even born yet, he or she is going to help lead the charge to help us all get the shit together. Because I can't do it. I'm not that guy. I've helped. I might lay the foundation. Maybe they'll build off of what we've laid in this generation. But we ain't ready. We ain't ready to play them games. We ain't ready to play the games of disciplined adults. We only play the games of children because we got too many Negroes that'll hop up and run to a damn concert, but ain't got time for a PTA meeting. We got too many Negroes that'll go back and forth to the comedy club, but don't want to go sit with the investment club, right? They ain't got time for that, right? We got too many Negroes who will pay $400 to get a hair weave, but won't pay $40 to get a tutoring program for their child. So if you ever want to know why Black people are losing, you can't sort of process why Black people are losing without putting Black people into the equation. You are a part of the equation. White people are a big part of the equation, but the whole equation of what happens in the Black community cannot stop, and end with what white people did or what white people are doing. No, Black people, you in the equation. You might be a little variable in the equation, but you are in the equation. Last but not least, when I put together these 4 pieces, Bill Cosby, Morgan Freeman, O.J. Simpson, and Tiger Woods. You know, what I look at also is I remember with Morgan, and I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I noticed how, you know, white people had embraced Morgan also. Morgan Freeman, think about this. These were four men who were titans in the white community. They achieved like this sort of stature that black people don't normally get, where you're kind of like, man, how did a black man get admired like that by so many white people? Morgan Freeman, he played God. Like, white people know him as God. It don't get no bigger than that. You know, like, they hear his name and they hear his voice, you know, that deep Morgan Freeman voice, and they're like, that guy played God, right? That's pretty awesome. Bill Cosby was named by, I think, Time Magazine as the father of the century, or the greatest TV father in television history. He beat out the father from like Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best. Like, he beat out all those like white dads and became like America's #1 dad. Like, that's pretty amazing. That's oh my God, that's crazy. That's insane, right? Tiger Woods, highest paid athlete in the history of Nike at the time he got his contract. You know, greatest golfer in the history of the world. O.J. Simpson was a god in the world of sports. O.J. Simpson, what he did on the football field, I don't think anybody was able to match what he did for another 20, 25 years. The Juice was a bad, bad boy. You know, and so I think that it's kind of interesting, though, you know, because it's almost like that same power that lifts you up is that same power that can crush you. You know, like that same hand that's feeding you good is the same hand that will slap the living shit out of you if you bite it. So you are benefiting from the system, but you are also of the system, which means that if you deviate from the system and violate the system, then you will be crushed by the system. And that pretty much seems to be what's going on. That Morgan Freeman, his alleged abuse of power that came from him sort of being, you know, one of the most favored black men in America. I mean, he played Driving Miss Daisy and all the other dumb stuff roles that I would never take. But he wasn't a bad guy. Like, it seemed like Morgan Freeman carried himself with dignity and all that. Now it's coming back to get him. Now he's gonna be running back to the black community, because we're gonna be the only ones who love Morgan Freeman after this shit's done. Ain't no white people gonna be messing with Morgan. Ain't no white people gonna be bringing him into their fold. Ain't no white people gonna be doing big business deals with him no more. And his name has officially been turned into mud, and that poor man is 80 years old, and I feel bad for him. But you know what? What's funny is, like, if Morgan Freeman were to die tomorrow, white people would write articles about years of sexual harassment. His great career was marred by years of harassment, where a white woman 10 years ago said that he told her that she had a nice booty. You know, it'll be, you know, shit like that, and it traumatized her, right? Like, because you know, they get traumatized over damn near anything. You know, but black people would just say, that was a great man. He was a great actor. We really appreciate his contribution. Black people would give Morgan Freeman a sending away party that was more balanced and fair and reflective of the greatness that he has had as a human being, as an actor. Bill Cosby, if he would have died tomorrow, God bless his soul, rest his soul. I mean, poor man looks like he's on his last legs. I mean, I don't know how many years he's got, but I hope he's got a lot, but he might have a few. The stress from this might kill the poor man. But I think if Bill Cosby died tomorrow, I think there'd be a lot of black people who would show a deference to him and a respect to him that goes beyond defining him solely based on this one area of his life that looks less than stellar. You know, doesn't mean it doesn't matter, doesn't mean it couldn't have been terrible, but does mean that there wasn't any evidence, that this case is absolute bullshit. And it also doesn't mean that he didn't do a hell of a lot for black people when he wanted to. You know, I mean, that man gave more money to HBCUs than any celebrity in history, from what I understand. Nobody comes close to Cosby. Nobody comes close. So any celebrity that talks shit about Cosby, talk shit after you match his $20 million donation to Spelman. Talk shit after you done went to every single damn HBCU and gave them all $1 million, $2 million at a time. Talk shit after that. Talk shit after you shown up and given free speeches at public schools and other places. Do y'all know that Cosby's speaking fee was $250,000 when he was popular? His speaking fee was $250,000. Cosby would waive his speaking fee for a lot of black institutions. Y'all don't know that. He would pass up the $250,000. White people would pay the whole price. They would pay the full price. For a lot of black institutions, Cosby would eliminate that speaking fee. He'd be like, no, I'm gonna come to your school for free because I like what you're doing. He got the money from white folks so he could give it to us. He was, in some ways, again, maybe he was stealing some stuff he shouldn't have been stealing, like stealing grabs on a woman's body parts, which is not acceptable at all. But if he's a thief, he was also Robin Hood. He was stealing from white folks so he could give that money to black folks. So I think Cosby, despite his shortcomings, I think that there is a lot of good that can be said about him. Now, does the good outweigh the bad? I don't know, because I'm not a victim of one of these situations that's been talked about. But I think at the same time, again, I think we can't ever live in a world where evidence doesn't matter. And the other thing too is that when you have alleged victims that called him 50 times, I said my daughter said this. She said this one lady called Bill Cosby 50 times after the alleged assault, but she didn't call the police one time. You called your alleged rapist 50 times, but didn't call the cops once. Why is it that people are in such a rush to excuse that kind of confusing behavior? Like, oh, well, it's because, rape victims, they're traumatized and they do silly things like that all the time. Yeah, but shit, at some point, if you're gonna discount everything that she did that doesn't add support to your case, then let's discount everything that she did, period. Let's discount everything, because clearly, if she's not smart enough to even call the police or to even tell somebody about what happened, then maybe she's also not smart enough to properly remember exactly what happened in 1972. Maybe she is not a person who even is smart enough to even know how to tell the truth. Maybe she's a person who distorts facts. Maybe she's a person who's crazy and makes things up and has hallucinations, right? Because remember, now pay attention. Here's what I'm saying is that if you were to confront somebody on it and say, well, why did she call Cosby 50 times and borrow money from him and go see him 7 times? They'll discount every piece of it. And they'll say, oh, you're victim blaming. And then they'll say, well, she was, if she's traumatized, no one knows how someone responds to their trauma because, they're technically mentally ill and their brain isn't working right and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so you're saying her brain ain't working right, which means that she's fucked in the head. So why would you give credibility to a story, an unfabricated, or it's not fabricated, an uncorroborated story that came from somebody who is fucked up in the head? That, again, right? If you crazy half the time, then that means you might be crazy all the time. Right? Or if you're crazy half the time, then that would mean that you could be crazy the other half of the time too. It has an effect on your credibility. So we got to decide either people are going to be believable all the time or they're believable none of the time. You can't say that they're believable when it conveniences you and that they have no credibility when it doesn't convenience you. That ain't nothing but propaganda, what they call it, spin, politics, or people just sort of, wanting to find their version of the truth and not looking for the absolute truth. So again, let me just summarize real quick and just say, when you talk about Cosby, Morgan Freeman, Tiger Woods, O.J. Simpson, and even Russell Simmons, the thing that I saw in their lives that I wouldn't want to live through is like, I feel like they were surrounded by all these people that were outside of the Black community, which put them in danger. I think especially when you're talking about spending a lot of time with white women, I think for Black men, that puts you in danger. That makes you very, very vulnerable. No different. And you think about this, a smart person stays out of situations where they're vulnerable. What are Black women telling their daughters? Smart Black women are telling their daughters, like, yeah, we don't want guys to rape you, and we're going to tell guys not to rape you, but you also need to understand how to get yourself out of a bad situation so that you don't become a victim. Right? Smart Black women, I've heard many smart Black women tell me, like, oh yeah, I was with my homegirl and we were at so-and-so's house, and then all of a sudden all these guys came in that we didn't know, and they turned the lights down and the whole vibe changed, and that's when I knew I had to get up out of there. That was like a situation I didn't want to be in. Or I went to that party and some of them dudes were looking rough and they was drinking and everything. I knew I had to get up out of there, right? Or I knew that if I'm gonna go there and get drunk, I'm gonna bring my girlfriends with me so I can be protected. We've lost that. White folks don't have that. What they do is they're like, go be a slut, go get drunk in front of anybody, with anybody, go put yourself in all these vulnerable situations, go to his room at 3:30 in the morning, and then think that he really wants you to come over for milk and cookies at 3:30 in the morning in his hotel room. Yeah, well, he told me he wanted me to come over at 3:30 a.m. for milk and cookies, and I just believed him. And then he put his arms around me, and I was traumatized and flabbergasted. No, he didn't. He learned some common sense for real. Like, he didn't bring it to his room at 3:30 in the morning for no milk and cookies. Like where was your daddy at breaking this down for you? Like, men don't want no milk and cookies at 3:30 in the morning. They don't want milk or cookies. They just want lots of nookie. That's what they want. That's why he called you to his hotel room at 3:30 in the morning. Even if that's not true, that should probably be an underlying assumption. Doesn't mean he has a right to take it. He ain't got no right to take nobody's milk and cookies or nobody's nookie. But that could be what's on his mind. And the idea that people are not teaching that to their kids is beyond me. But that's what that's what I talk to my daughters about. And I think also for the brothers too. Understand, you are the new prey. The predator has switched. Before, these dirty men that would rape women, those were the predators. The feeble, innocent women were the prey. Now, black men in many cases are the prey. And the predator is that sweet little thing that you think ain't nothing but a big button, a smile, or some girl that's offering to give you oral sex on the first date, or wants to get drunk with you so y'all can have sex all night, so that the next day she can change the story in terms of what actually happened because she's feeling guilty. Lots of men have become the prey. So I would say to black men, be careful. Think careful who you sleep with. Get to know the girl. And just, when you're laying down with the white woman, just know that whether she uses that power or not, the power is in her favor. She is the beneficiary of that interaction. She has the power in that situation because she could walk out of that room with no evidence whatsoever and get you sent to prison for the next 30 years. If that doesn't make your dick shrivel up, then I don't know what should. If you still want to go into that situation just for some sex, then all power to you. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. I hope that everything works out for you because I'm scared for your black ass. Because we can't save you at that point. We can't. We ain't got the power of Miss Polly. When Emmett Till, going back to Emmett Till, when they go out and say the word, that Negro did that to me, they gonna come and ruin your life, son. That's what they gonna do, straight up. So just be smart. Just be smart. All right, I'm done talking. I sometimes I talk so much I get myself in trouble. So let me be quiet. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Don't forget, join us at blackenough.com. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, subscribe button before you go. Please do that. Please share. Please start these conversations all throughout the web. Go to your Facebook page right now. Start a discussion on this issue. Let's keep the conversation going because I think these are the things that we need to talk about as a community. Also, last but not least, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. So I'm about to go, guys, and thank you for hearing me out, even if you didn't agree. And just know that God loves you, and so do I. I'm playing. I'll see you guys later. Peace.